Now, to mark the Year of Craft 2011, Dublin is pulling out all the stops to celebrate our abundance of contemporary artisans with an initiative called Designer Dublin. Located in garrets and incubation centres around the city, Capital D went to meet 3 of them.
It was purely by accident that I fell in love with working in metal.
Well, I do think they're quirky and fun, always figurative and always female.
The turn of phrase that I like to put to my piece is actually that it's couture craft. My grandmother was always crocheting. We used to go and visit her regularly in her little apartment here in Dublin, and she always had some crochet in her hand or nearby that she was working on. This is a piece actually that was made by my grandmother. It would have been intended for a tablecloth. The idea then was that you would join a great number of these of circles to create an actual oblong or square piece. So I came across it actually a number of years ago and I just loved it and loved the idea that it formed this lovely chain. And then what I've done is I've taken that kind of format and dressed it then with chains and beads to create an actual piece of jewellery. In my present collection I have a choice of hand crocheted jewellery, necklaces, bracelets and chokers, and I have a selection of hand knitted bags, clutch bags and shoulder bags, all of which are silk lined. I'm all the time looking online. I just love the old magazines from the 1940s, 50s. People just dress so elegantly, and crochet and knitting was used in such an elegant fashion. I mean, these kind of patterns here where you see the lady wearing the gloves and the beautiful hats. I mean, these were all handmade. There is a positive turnaround to appreciating handcrafted pieces, particularly here in Ireland.
When I finished school I was very keen to do engineering, marine engineering. Unfortunately I didn't get the honours in the physics, so I had to repeat physics for the Leaving Cert. And while I was doing that I came up with the idea of learning a craft for when I went to sea. I didn't repeat physics, I fell in love with silversmithing and working in metal, and that's what I've done ever since. I suppose the magic qualities of working in non-ferrous metals, or especially silver, is it's completely malleable. You can take a flat sheet of silver, hammer it into any shape. It's one of the most creative metals for working in. It's no end of possibilities in working in it, and no end of possibilities of moving it and shaping it. And the magical thing about it is that the finished metal is just beautiful. All my work is based on designing and making in silver with a little bit of bronze. As the metal is hammered over, it's slowly hammered over onto itself and into a tapered tube. Most of my ideas come from the material itself. It's how metal can move under a hammer. Different shape curves that you can make, different ways that you can move the metal, different ways that you can texture the metal. And my work is a development of a lot of these ideas. Ireland has always had a huge reputation for silversmithing. Back to the Bronze Age, some of the best artefacts that have been found since that time have been found in Ireland. Later on, pre-Celtic work was absolutely amazing. And later on the Christian work like the Ardagh Chalice will be some of the greatest treasures of the world.
You're impossibly beautiful, is that cause I'm waiting? Is that cause I'm looking, or is it just cause you are?
I've been drawing dancing ladies since I was about 4, and I had just pages and pages and pages of them, and it's almost like they took on a life of their own and something that was on paper became a 3D object. I kind of called them divas pretty early on, and they've developed hugely. I mean, they've gone from these ladies with thin spaghetti arms to much fuller figures to getting quite refined, and now the latest ones are having much more sculptured faces. So, I mean, they're constantly changing. I think it's almost like the idea of an almost ideal, you know, maybe like the Barbie doll as a kid. But these women have tummies and these women have big bums, which Barbie never did. The themes that ran through them would change depending on what I was interested in at the time. So it could be anything from period costume to flowers. And they varied and changed, which is nice actually. It means keeps my interest, but it keeps them moving as well. A lot of the work is quite determined almost, especially with the heads. They're very self-assured. Well, they're all me, really, you know? It's, yeah, I mean, it's quite self-indulgent, isn't it?
And if you want to meet some designers at work, then check out Craft Trail on the 10th of June.